joining. So officially, welcome to today's CSP webinar. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's great to be back. We haven't had a webinar since March, of course, with everything going on. So really appreciate you all joining us again today for the official restart of the 2020 webinar series. It's really lovely to be back. Without going into too much detail, hope you're all doing well as you can be, and it's great to have you. So we are kicking off this series with a little bit of a different format today. As you can tell, those of you who've been to CSP webinars before, we thought it would be really nice to introduce the Canada team to you and let them all just give you a bit of an update on where their destinations and products are at. So I'm just going to point everybody out to start with. So we've got Nathan from Destination Canada. Give us a wave, Nay. Then we'll have Joanne, Destination BC. We have Amber from Rocky Mountaineer. Sean, who'll be talking to you about the Yukon and Via Rail. Grant from Accor. Rick from Air Canada. And Ray from Travel Manitoba. So everybody's going to give you a bit of an update. I will hand you over to Nathan. Nathan, I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Charlie. First of all, just a big thanks from me and Destination Canada to Charlie for putting this all together for us. We're excited to be back and talking to you. Obviously, as Charlie mentioned, we've been in a bit of a holding pattern since everything's gone down. But the exciting thing is our trade education pieces, like our webinars, are kicking back off with this one today. And as Charlie mentioned, we thought we would reintroduce you guys to all of us. I know you've probably met a number of us before, but there's some new faces in our team. So we thought, what a good way to start back off. I just wanted to point out a few things from our end, Destination Canada, before passing on to Joanne. First of all, at the end, you'll get all our details and our websites and links. And one of those is our Keep Exploring consumer website. I highly recommend you go on there and check out the COVID updates. If anyone's got any questions or concerns about what's happening in Canada at the moment with COVID-19, then please go on to that website. Everything there from the federal government of Canada is listed. And if you have any further other questions on that, let me know and I can assist. But what's coming up new for us, I guess, with the Canada Specialist Program is our landing page for our website. You know that we're in rebuilding mode with the online training, but we have a new landing page coming hopefully by the end of this week, if not over the weekend. It'll have lots of new tools on it. Basically things like virtual tours, these Zoom backdrops that you can see that I've got one. I think I've got none of it on today. There'll be itinerary suggestions, videos, imagery, anything that you may want to access right now. If you've been like all of us and been on, multiple Zoom calls a day for the last 6 or 7 weeks, then some of that stuff may come in handy. And we've been pulling those from all our provincial partners, particularly the virtual tours. So there's some really cool ones to check out there. And there's been some amazing videos that our partners have put out. I know Manitoba, BC, the Yukon have got some great videos that inspire travellers on their destination when the time is right. And then I just was going to end on, Charlie's asked us to end on our favourite Canadian memory or moment. And I really struggle with this because I have so many, having been in this role for 12 years. So I basically thought I would do more of a theme, and it was wildlife. That image there was a shot taken in BC, probably about 10 years ago. But I've had many amazing experiences viewing wildlife, whether it's been the grizzlies in BC or the polar bears in Manitoba, the orcas in BC, or the belugas in Manitoba as well. So very hard to pick which is my absolute favourite because they're all unique and amazing. So my favorite memory or moments have all got to do with wildlife. So thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it. I know you guys have been crying out for some information. Hope this today's is a little teaser, and then looking forward to the normal CSP webinars kicking off next week, where you'll get the more detailed stuff. So thanks guys for joining us. Use the Q&A if you've got any questions, and we'll get back to you. And now I'm going to hand over to Joanne from Destination BC.
Good morning, everyone. It's so awesome to see your names if we can't see your faces running down the screen here. So thanks for joining. British Columbia is doing pretty good. So we're working hard inside the province right now to flatten the curve, as they say. They've been erring very much on the side of caution and doing a really good job over there at keeping the cases to a handful at the moment. And then they're also starting to slowly open things up. One of those things is the beast parks, which is keep very so that's what is BC known for? I mean, I've seen some of your names. We've been on FAMs together, so I probably could ask you the same thing, what you found most amazing about BC. Well, funnily enough, we've been doing a marketing campaign over the last 6 months that talks about the fact that there's scientific evidence out there that says nature is good for your health. And I think after this, we all need a bit of a mental health break and some fresh air. And so I think British Columbia will be a great place to send your clients to get that mental health and well-being that they really deserve. We've got lots of wilderness, wide open spaces, health and well-being, retreats and places to go. And of course, as Nathan just said, the wildlife is something that really draws people to our part of the world. As Nathan said, and I on our website, hellobc.com, we've got updates going on about what's happening with COVID, with the industry, what's opening up. It's also where we're launching all of our campaigns. There's a coming up in the near future, #ExploreBCLocal for the locals. I believe it's rolling out this week. So there'll be things slowly starting to come out marketing wise. And then also at Hello BC on Facebook and Instagram. And specifically on Facebook, we are targeting Australians on that. We've got a guy here who's doing all the content. So keep an eye on that. 8th. And I'll be trying to talk through in that webinar about how you can link different parts of the province together and link it with other provinces for your clients in those future itineraries. So in the meantime, I'm here to help. I'm Sydney based. I would love to have a chat with you if you have time and you would like to talk about things. I'm on my phone, my email, and I'm even up for coffees, whether they're virtual or face-to-face where we're allowed to. So I'll just jump to my favorite memory, which was as hard as Nathan. I had about 100 of them. But I think same thread, wildlife is really what blows me away. Even though I'm Canadian, it still blows me away to see wildlife. And this is me spotting a spear bear. It was a number of years ago, but they do really exist. They're hard to find. And this little guy just happened to stay around for a few hours. So we were very privileged at the time to spot him. So again, call me for a chat and I'll tell you more about spear bears or anything else you'd like to know about British Columbia. And I will pass it over to Sean to talk to you next. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. Charlie, am I doing Yukon or VRL now? I'm a bit...
I think I had Yukon next, Sean,
Okay,
if that's all right.
Not a problem. I wear a couple of hats, so it sometimes gets a little bit challenging. Well, thanks very much, everyone, for joining us today. It is, of course, a very challenging time for the world, really. The Yukon, of course, also experiencing challenges as a result of COVID-19, not only health, but also economically. We've been quite fortunate. We've only had 11 cases in total in the Yukon. I think, the vast wilderness and the fact that it is, high up in the north of Canada has been very positive from keeping COVID out of the province, which has been great. Our borders are currently restricted, just to make sure we're keeping everyone safe as possible up in the Yukon. And of course, for our First Nations people as well, it's a very significant concern. So we're making sure we're keeping everyone as safe as possible. But of course, it's a pretty tough time, not only from a health perspective, but also economically. Many businesses depend on tourism and international trade. And it's challenging, but I mean, Yukon has been taking this all in their stride. We're very tough and hardy people. And the good thing is that, the Yukon, because it's such a vast wilderness, so there really is plenty of space for social distancing, which has been great. And we've been seeing a lot of really cool images on social media and so forth of Yukoners out in the outdoors, doing fishing, they're hopping in their canoes, spending time in nature. All these are wonderful things that the Yukon is really known for. And we've seen some cool stuff on Instagram and Facebook. And I think our Yukon local operators even made a cool little video on Yukon inspiration and really just getting out there in the fresh air. So it's been really good to see that, the whole Yukon community has really kind of come together during these challenging times. Just moving, I guess, on to my most memorable experience. I think Charlie will probably have that up in a second. And that was really, for me, in Tombstone National Park.
Wow.
And Tombstone is an amazing park in the sort of north part of the Yukon. It's near Dawson City. It's a couple of hours drive from Dawson, Sydney. And it's an amazing hiking destination, not only in the summer, but also in the winter. And we can also do some flight seeing from there. So for me, it's one of the things that really kind of make the Yukon special. You can see just from that photo there, the amazing mountains, the beautiful lakes. In wintertime, it's covered in snow. Flight seeing across these areas, on a small plane is just fantastic, or a helicopter. And of course, we doing a lot of Northern Lights viewing as well, which the Yukon is very well known for. And that's increasingly in Dawson City. And of course, if you're camping by Talus Lake, imagine seeing the Northern Lights from a location like that. Very, very special. Now, the other thing I just wanted to also mention is that Charlie will be sharing my contact details, I think via email and also possibly at the end of this webinar. And so if you'd like to have a chat about the Yukon, I'm certainly available at any time. And we'll also be doing a CSP webinar later on in the year. So we'll go into a bit more depth on what the Yukon has to offer. Okay, thanks very much. I think I'm transferring it to Rick now from Air Canada.
Oh, to Ray, actually.
Oh, sorry. I saw Rick's pop up on my screen, so I thought it might be Rick. But okay, it's Ray from Travel Manitoba. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Sean, and welcome everyone to a virtual Manitoba. Likewise, in Manitoba, similar to most parts of Canada, or all of Canada, and I guess the globe, it's very much in travel pause mode at the moment in Manitoba. Of course, this period is being utilised very, very positively by all the tourism plant and operators there, particularly in the polar bear and beluga whale watching territory of Churchill, to get ready for when our guests start to arrive again. Also on our website and in the various social aspects of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc., there's a lot of updated information on really what's happening or what can happen in Manitoba for the coming period. There's also a great video called "Stay Home." Absent makes the heart grow fonder. It's a fantastic clip, and that's available on the various channels, and you can access that obviously on the website. For when recovery happens, Manitoba is very well placed because we're right in the middle of Western Canada, halfway between Vancouver and Toronto, serviced by an international airport, and it's the main train stop as well halfway across. So plenty of good aspects there into the capital of Winnipeg, which is the cultural city really of central of Canada. Now, my favourite story will be walking with the polar bears, and polar bears are iconic, as we all know. So I was lucky enough to be able to take a helicopter from Churchill over to one of the beautiful lodges in the Bear Country on Hudson Bay coast in northern Manitoba. We landed and parked the helicopter out front of the lodge. Had a beautiful lunch in a great setting overlooking some snow and the tundra area. And 3 guests and I, along with the manager of the lodge, decided we should go for a polar bear walk under the guidance of the lodge manager, of course, who was well prepared, had the appropriate equipment to keep the polar bears away from his guests. He had sticks and stones, and they're the things that frighten bears away. He did have a gun, by the way, just in case, but they never really need to use that. So we were walking along, and in the distance we saw a polar bear sitting up in the tundra grass, and it looked quite small. As we got a little closer, but in safe distance, sort of much further than COVID distance, by the way, we spotted the bear just sitting up and having a look around, and then it stood up. My God, it was huge. It was probably 6-8 foot tall. So we all took videos and best pictures, etc., and we wandered along, and the bear then spotted the helicopter. So here the bear walks up to the helicopter and tries to bite the nose cone of the helicopter. So we've got this, a polar bear which originated in something like 1774, trying to eliminate one of what he thought one of his competitors, or could have been a she, one of their competitors, which is a sort of a 1940 edition of a helicopter when it arrived there. Of course, it was a modern helicopter, that are all used. I thought it was a very, very fascinating aspect of the area, a very, very remote, extreme area, and polar bears are absolutely beautiful looking, but keep well more than COVID distance away. Although the manager of the lodge did say to us the polar bear is more frightened of us than what we're of him, so we took that for granted. Anyway, we look forward to welcoming all your guests to Manitoba, up into Churchill, and visit the polar bears. Thank you.
Sean, we're going to head back to you now, actually, for VRL. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Thanks, Ray. Yes, look, of course, with VRL as the National Rail Canada, National Rail Network of Canada, we've been certainly, COVID-19 has been impacting us, quite severely. And of course, with, Canada, of course, and in terms of the entire world, it's been definitely been a challenge, and particularly for myself working in long distance rail in particular, for travellers from Australia travelling over. It's been really challenging. But I guess one of the things is we've seen a lot of our staff really come together. The whole Canadian communities all really come together and support each other, and we're really very much focused in Canada of trying to move forward and solve the health crisis as quickly as we can, but of course being safe and making sure that we're doing things the right way. And certainly for our trade partners and things like that, we've been spending a lot of time over the last few days and weeks and months working hard supporting our trade partners and our customers. And we've been really pleased with VRL to offer a full refund to our passengers booked up to November the 1st November the 1st, 2020. So that's been really great, and we worked really hard to be able to offer that refund. So that was really good. We have been impacted in terms of our trains and suspensions. So we have the Canadian train and also the ocean train will be suspended until November the 1st, 2020. Some of our trains are continuing to operate. As I mentioned, we are the National Rail Service of Canada, so we do operate some trains as an essential service, and that's mainly the corridor trains, which are operating on the East Coast, and they're remaining operational for limited services. VRail, of course, keeping the health and safety of its passengers and its staff as our top priority. So we're spending a lot of time deep cleaning our trains. We also take health screenings of our passengers. So our staff check them for visible signs of illnesses before boarding, and staff will actually deny passengers boarding if they have cold and flu symptoms. And along with the case in a lot of parts of the world, especially North America, we're strongly encouraging all our passengers to wear masks at the moment. As the COVID-19 crisis moves forward, and as we said, hopefully it does dissipate, then those restrictions I'm sure will be lifted. But currently, this is the case. The other thing I wanted to mention, of course, is it's been a very challenging time, and we certainly miss our trains, especially the long distance trains like the Canadian and the Ocean that are currently suspended. And so I think it was last Friday afternoon from market development, we spent a bit of time actually setting up a virtual train, and we had a bit of a go at driving the Canadian train through the Rocky Mountains. And that was a bit of a fun experience, and we made a little video, and we'll see if we can share that for you on the CSP Facebook page. And it's also got some cool links to some software that if any of your clients are train buffs, which I know a lot of people are, they can have a bit of a go at driving a virtual train as well. So that's really cool. Now moving on, I guess, to my most memorable experience, and Charlie's asked us to share that information. So for me, my most memorable experience was actually aboard the Canadian train. As you can see, a great photo there of the Canadian in the snow. And of course, as many of you would know, on the Canadian, we sleep on board the train, we have cabins. And so for me, my most memorable experience is literally waking up in my cabin, looking out through the picture window at the snow. And you can't beat it, really. It's just fantastic. And, you're not really sure exactly where you are. You're probably going through the Rocky Mountains. And just to see this wonderful vista in front of you is really, really cool. And I'll quite often just sneak out of the cabin, go grab a coffee, because there's usually a free flow coffee operating in one of the dome cars nearby, and grab that and grab a muffin or something, and sneak back into my cabin and just watch the vista roll down for a while before getting up for a hearty breakfast. So that's probably my most memorable experience on the Canadian train, going through the Rocky Mountains in the snow during winter time. Thank you very much. And I'm not sure who is going next. I think it's actually might be Amber. Is that right? Perfect. Yeah, introduce Amber from Rocky Mountaineer.
Thanks, Sean. Hi, everyone. So from Via Rail across to Rocky Mountaineer, keep the trains together. Firstly, thank you all so much for all of your support and patience during this challenging time. It's been tough for everybody, and no different for us on Rocky Mountaineer. It's been an incredibly challenging time, to say the least. We celebrated it's our 30th birthday this year. It's not quite how we thought we would be spending our 30th birthday, and certainly not spending it without celebrating with our guests on board. So it's been a shame in that regard, that's for sure. But we are working incredibly hard to ensure that we welcome your guests on board for 30 plus years forward, to moving forward. So a couple of updates from Rocky Mountaineer. 2020, as I mentioned, we have not travelled sadly yet. We have suspended our departures all the way until the 30th of July, and the August to October departures are still pending on the decision whether we will actually be able to operate the train over that period. So stay tuned. We should have some more information for you all in the next week or so. The good news is that 2021 is already released and available to sell and transfer guests across over to. The other great thing for us is that we have kept all of our pricing flat from 2020 to 2021. So guests will pay the same price for the rail seats, and also guests that are affected on any of the 2020 departures, if they're moving their package across to 2021, we will guarantee their price on a like-to-like basis, providing they're travelling within 14 days of either side of their original dates. So that's great to see that we can help out as much as we can with the pricing for forward bookings in 2021. So likewise, we are working very hard on what the train looks like and the experience for when we can get back on the tracks. A lot of work is going into the safety of our guests, the screening of our guests, how we ensure that everybody's safe for our guests and our crew on board, of course. So there'll be more and more information will be released on that as we finalise details. One thing for Rocky Mountaineer is the commitment is that whatever the minimum government and health authority requirements are, that we're dedicated to surpassing that and making sure that everybody remains safe and able to enjoy the beautiful fresh air and outdoors of the Rockies. So we are looking forward to welcoming guests on board next year. We are looking forward to finally, hopefully getting back on the tracks sooner rather than later. And there'll be more and more information coming out as we go. We also have a CSP webinar coming up. It's not for a couple of months. However, after this webinar, Charlie will share the contact details of all of the Rocky Mountaineer team in Australia. You're very welcome to reach out to any of them or myself for anything that you need, any questions, any queries. And also if you're ready and you have the time to do some staff training within your own agencies or within your own staff groups, please let me know. Or consumer training, with consumer events. We've actually even had a couple of virtual consumer events which have gone quite well. So, but it's a whole new world we're all living in, but we're all here and dedicated to helping you as much as we can through this crazy time. My favourite moment in Canada, it would be remiss of me not to say my first experience on the train. So here's a little selfie that I took. I was incredibly excited to be on the train for the very first time. And this is a day, you can see it was picture perfect in the Rockies on that day, absolutely beautiful. But my favourite moment actually on the train itself, I was fortunate, I was on the last train of the season last year, and which is kind of ironic because I would never have thought that it would be so long until I could get back on the train again. And one of the storytellers on board was taking photos out of the scenery and the vistas and the beautiful mountains. And I was really surprised. I said to her, "You've been on the train since April. It's now October. What could you possibly be taking photos of?" And she said to me, "Amber, every day something else. It's different. There'll be different animals. There's different colors around every bend. Even though you've been around this bend for the whole season, for months on end, you'll see something else." So it just amazed me that she was still so excited and passionate about the product and how beautiful the Canadian Rockies are after being on the train for months and months. So that was kind of a special Rocky Mountaineer moment for me. But thank you all, and again, I can't thank you all enough for your support and all of the hard work you're doing on the front line. It's incredibly tough at the moment, so my hat is off to you for sure. I would like to hand over to Grant from Accor now. So take it away, Grant.
Thank you, Amber. Good morning, everybody. So glad you could join us. My name is Grant Seylhouwer. I'm the Director of Luxury Sales for Accor. Don't let the accent fool you. I am based in Sydney. I actually joined Accor about 3 months ago. And so it's been a very interesting 3 months, to say the least. I feel like I've been with the company for 2 years, based on what's happened. But what's happening with the brand, really excited just to talk what's internally is Accor took part of its dividend from last year and paid it forward to all of its employees. So we have a 70 million euro fund given to all employees who are struggling during this difficult time. So it's great to see Accor giving back to its own. We just launched All Safe, which is our cleanliness and prevention label, which will be rolled out at all of our 5,000 plus properties all over the globe. This is going to include enhanced clean protocols, enhanced staff training, enhanced food and safety measures, and new guest contact measures. This will all be rolled out, all monitored and audited by a third-party Bureau Veritas to ensure that no matter what Accor property you're walking into, you can be assured it's the highest of cleanliness standards. We've also partnered with ASICS, an insurance company, which will provide complimentary teleconferencing medical assistance to any of our guests globally. So no matter where you're at, you can access a doctor complimentary through Accor's network, which is really exciting. We hope all this really brings back the confidence to travel and gets people on the road no matter where you're staying. All the 4 Rocky Mountain hotels, Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, Whistler, will all be open as of June 1st. This will really be to the domestic market, and then we'll open up to the international market as per government regulations. Fairmont Empress will open up this summer, still a date to be determined, but again, it will be just that domestic market background. Pacific Rim has stayed open throughout this time. Great to see they have some initiatives that have given back to the community. They've donated over 400 cups of coffee to the local medical professionals, as well as 1,000 cups of coffee, 400 bars of soap to community groups. And they've announced a Feed It Forward program that every meal purchased at their cafe, they will donate a meal to a local medical professional. So really great to see that the company giving back to the local community. My favorite memory of Canada, well, I mean, joining the company was the first time I've been to Canada. So I joined, and then the next day they put me on a plane for a 3-week tour around North America. Sadly, that tour only included 4 days of Canada, so that was my first experience. Even being from Colorado, I'd never been to Canada. But in the Empress, I was expecting that I would have to take a boat over to Vancouver. So when they said that the helicopter was waiting, it certainly was a fun way to arrive in Vancouver. And hopefully next time we'll have some more time to explore the beautiful country. Certainly different from the rest of these panelists who've, have thousands of memories I look to build on my short one there. Thank you for your time, everyone. And I will hand over to Rick from Air Canada. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, bonjour, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Rick Pomery and I'm the sales manager at Air Canada. And what a great destination, Canada. And certainly by what we've just heard constantly entices us all to go there. Air Canada is a great means of transport to get you there. What I can add further and know about this industry this year has been incredibly sad. We have all been devastated by it, and Air Canada is also part and parcel of the COVID-19 absolute shocking situation to be in. So what is happening with us? Air Canada, due to the border closures and restrictions, you may be aware that we've moved our schedules until the tentative start date of 3 September. And this new tentative date will be from Sydney only and operate to Vancouver 3 days a week. And it will be the start of our regrowth. We will certainly look at returning to 7 days a week out of Sydney and also to return back to Brisbane and Melbourne when we can possibly get there. Vancouver is a great gateway to entry to not only Canada but also North America. We do have some flights to Sydney. We've currently got cargo flights. We've converted 7 aircraft over from passengers to cargo, and we're bringing in a lot of and taking out a lot of very important cargo. And we also have traffic rights picked up just to go to Auckland as well with cargo. So big long flights. We did Sydney-Toronto the other week, and we do Auckland-Toronto as well on a regular basis, which may be an indication of the future. Right now, Air Canada is offering about 100 destinations in Canada and USA and around the world. This is down from 220 from last year. Within Canada, we've increased our schedules from 34 to 58 routes in June, and more routes will be added in August and September. Currently, we've just reopened a bridge to the USA, and that's just 6 destinations, being New York, Washington, Los Angeles, San Fran, Boston, and Chicago, where many other airlines have currently stopped flying between the two countries. This is for essential travellers only and for Canadians. Internationally, Air Canada in June will continue to operate from our 3 major hubs to key destinations in around the globe, our 3 hubs being Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. We're flying at the moment to Frankfurt, London, Zurich, Tel Aviv, Paris, Brussels, and in our area, we're flying from Hong Kong, Tokyo, and Seoul. More routes will be added in July. We've removed 79 aircraft from our fleet, and pleasingly, we'll be replacing these as we go along with new modern aircraft. Some new initiatives that's just recently happened with Air Canada is Air Canada Clean Care Plus. Is a new program that we have operated, just started to operate in. It's limiting unnecessary interactions. Its use of personal protective equipment, i.e. masks, must be worn by all people on board. We're employing state-of-the-art cleaning techniques on all our aircraft. And one of the things that we have done until the end of June is remove the middle seat from occupancy. So this has reduced our capacity on an aircraft down from 30 to 40, and it's from our wide-bodied aircraft all the way through to our narrow-bodied aircraft and our smaller fleet. The policy does not apply, of course, for Signature, which is our business class, or premium economy, because there's space enough. But that gives further peace of mind for our travellers. It is in for to 30 June, and new maps are actually reflected in the GDS right now. What we have done is we've removed access to lounges. Our food service has been reduced on board. Check-in in Vancouver is now only done in the international terminal. Gate closing times have increased from 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And we have a special aircraft operating between Toronto, Ottawa and Toronto, Montreal, which is a Air Canada Jets aircraft, which is a special aircraft that we have mainly for charter. It's only 58 seats, so that's been taken up on those early morning runs from Toronto to these major destinations and been taken up quite well. It's sold as premium economy. Our schedule change policy has been in place now since early March, and that's offering 24-month credit or refund as per fare rules. So in closing, my favourite moments, naturally, is getting there. The best way to get there is with Air Canada. But last year, in 2019, I was very, very fortunate to be able to attend the Calgary Stampede. Not everyone's cup of tea. It was amazing. The atmosphere, the weather, the people, the cowboys, the cowgirls, just the whole city went berserk, and for a week they had 1 million visitors. Also in the corner you can see a picture of the team, the sales team. We were fortunate enough to go to our global sales meeting in Montreal, and unfortunately the team have been stood down. There's just 3 of us working at the moment. I will say that we will all be back. The team are amazing, and we'll be certainly, hopefully, bringing them back in stages, of course. We have reduced our availability, how to get to contact us, and so we have a generic email address, and our reservation call centre is another means of contacting with us. We'll be back, and we'll be flying high, as they say. I also want to thank you so much for all your efforts for handling the frontline people that you are, just the amazing efforts that's going on at the moment. And that's it. So thank you very, very much. I'll hand over to Lizzie, who will be looking after the next segment for you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for your patience with me coming onto the call today. My name is Lizzie. I represent Northwest Territories in Canada. You all may be more familiar with the gateway name, which is Yellowknife. The way my Wi-Fi isn't working very well today, you'd think I might be in the Arctic region of Canada right now. So if it does break up, I'll ask Charlie to intervene and let you all know.
Oh, yeah, we are having a bit of trouble with Lizzie's Wi-Fi. Lizzie, are you still there? Lizzie, can you hear me? We are just having a bit of trouble hearing Lizzie because she's not got a good connection today. Lizzie, I'm afraid we have lost you. What we'll do is, so Lizzie's going to talk to you about Northwest Territories. We will follow up with some information. You've seen her face, you know who she is. I will just show you, we'll go back to it, because Lizzie had a really fantastic slide of her, of dog sledding and Northern Lights in Northwest Territories. So I just wanted to show you this slide because it is absolutely beautiful. Bucket list experience, of course, and hopefully, yes, we can get Lizzie to tell us about that another time, but fantastic experience there. Then what I will do is we'll go through to our contact details slide and open the floor for Q&A. So if you do have any questions, if they're specifically for one of our presenters today, then please do type them into the Q&A box or into the chat box. I will take a look at both. So any questions, if they're specifically for somebody, just type their name in first, for Joanne, for Nathan, for Amber, and we will read those out. But otherwise, here are all your contacts for everybody here today. So I will leave that screen up for a minute, and then I do have a separate screen for Rocky Mountaineer because, as most of you know, there is a nationwide sales team. So I'll hand you all those ones in a minute. Any questions at all?
And Charlie,
Yep.
if I can just jump in, we're going to share these afterwards, right, with everyone?
Yes, I will. The webinar has been recorded, so I'll share the recording link, but I will also just send you these contact slides with live links as well. So you've got all the links there to all the different websites, training programs and things that are available, and also newsletter lists if you want to sign up specifically for any news from any of our presenters today, then I will have some newsletter links for you as well. So there is the Rocky Mountaineer team. So you can find the rep in your area. Any questions in the Q&A?
I'm just answering Shelley.
I actually can't see the chat box now because I'm sharing. So can you guys see the, Nathan, can you see the chat box?
Yeah.
Is there anything in there needs reading out?
It was just in regards to sharing these details afterwards.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Trying to cover that as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. No questions there. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much to all our presenters today for all coming on and showing their face and updating you all. Nathan, any last words from you from Destination Canada?
No, just a big thanks to everyone for joining us, both our panelists and our agents, attendees. Again, big thanks to Charlie for pulling this together for us. And then just a message of support to everyone out there. We're here for you. We're thinking of you. And hopefully things turn around quickly for everyone.